joining us this week to go ahead and discuss this week's big topics. Please welcome back to the show retired Army Major, former West Virginia State Senator, former presidential candidate, podcast host, former congressional and potential congressional candidate, Richard Ojeda.
Glad to be on here, Tom. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the show. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know when this goes out, you probably will have officially announced that you're running for Congress. So
yes,
I want to say this is a big deal for me because last week we had on Earl Skakel, and the day that the episode dropped, his cousin, his RFK Jr., his cousin became Secretary of Health and Human Services. So I'm hoping like this makes up for it. Like I have you on, and this will go ahead and help push you over the top. Like my luck. Like I don't want to be the kiss of death for the country, basically.
No, I really appreciate you guys letting me come on here. I'm excited. I think that I absolutely have a great opportunity here to flip a seat from red to blue. When I ran in 2018 in West Virginia, I ran in an R plus 54, which was basically impossible. But 2 weeks before the election, I was actually ahead. And then Donald Trump come to West Virginia and called me a stone cold crazy wacko and put on that coal miner's cap, and everybody went crazy. And I lost. But, it's not a R plus 54 here in North Carolina. I think that my district is heavily saturated, at least 50% of it, with veterans. And let me tell you something. There's nobody going to fight for veterans health care more than a fellow veteran will. That is a fact. My opponent will not be able to say that, but I will. And, anybody who knows me knows that I absolutely can get things done. I was in a super minority when I was a senator in West Virginia. And even the Democrats told me not to mess with medical cannabis, but I pushed it anyway, got the people behind me. And on the last day of my first legislative session, my bill became into law in West Virginia, which is why it's the 29th state for medical cannabis. So, I can get things done. I got 2 pay raises for corrections. And the teacher strike started with my speech, and we fought for 9 days and won. So, I believe that I do have the ability to go to Washington, D.C. and get things done. And make no mistake about it, I don't care who you are. If I have an issue with you, I will let you know.
Bring it, let's say. Let's do
it.
Yeah,
dude. Hell yeah.
I've never wanted to live in North Carolina again after having gone to college there. But I'm kind of changing my mind right now.
I know. I want to vote for you.
Well, I mean, think about it. The state, they elected a Democrat governor. We have a Democrat district. No. Goodness gracious.
Attorney General.
Are right now, of course, they're still fighting it. But we should be taking the Supreme Court in the state. They're trying to throw a bunch of votes out, but they're going to lose, and we're going to have that. So, North Carolina is definitely far better than what I left, because once again, West Virginia went completely crazy for Donald Trump, and they're going to learn, and they're going to learn real soon. Southern West Virginia is underwater right now, and normally FEMA would be there helping these people, and I don't think they are. So, this is what happens when you allow, Trump's the things that he does it's going to affect people. So I hate that those people are struggling.
Yeah.
But once again, it's one of those things is that, you guys voted for this. We told you everything about how Donald Trump told over 30,000 verified lies. And then all of a sudden, right before the election, they all started thinking that now he was going to be truthful. And he's not truthful. They've done nothing but lie. He has allowed Elon Musk to literally go after entire swaths of voters in this country, take their jobs from them. And, this is going to blow up in their face. And my thing is the sooner the better. I mean, if it's time to take it to the streets, then let's take it to the streets. Let me tell you something. I draw my retirement because I spent 24 years in the United States military. I gave my youth to Uncle Sam. I deserve my disability because over those 24 years, you sent me to combat zones, to humanitarian aid missions, and you broke us. I have breathed in burning bodies. I have been around burn pits. I've been around vehicles destroyed with depleted uranium. I've had over 30 cysts removed from my body. I got to get 3 removed on my left arm alone within the next week. So, you're now talking about that you don't think we deserve that? Be very careful what you do. Because let me tell you something, Elon Musk is not going to get to come and take our veterans' benefits away. And if you think that he can, you better be careful, because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of veterans that I know that are ready to take it to the streets now.
Talking of benefits, I listen to your show religiously, Ojeda Live. It streams on YouTube, which I highly recommend. And you've told this story more than once, and it's still, I don't know, I don't necessarily know why it shouldn't. It shouldn't surprise me that this still happens, but it still happens. There was a story you told about someone from West Virginia talking to someone about their social security. They were talking to a Trump voter about social security benefits. It sounds better coming from you than from me. Well, you tell us so eloquently.
Well, what it was is I gotta still have a lot of family and friends in Southern West Virginia, and one of my buddies that was talking to me the other day. He was speaking to a lot of the guys that he works with that some of them have already filed and draw Social Security. And he told them, he says, what are you going to do when they kill your Social Security? And they looked at him and said, Donald Trump's not taking our Social Security. He's going after Black and brown people's Social Security.
Oh, my God.
So the stupidity and the racism together, makes it even worse. And once again, these are the people that don't realize it. I see these people. I come from some of the most impoverished parts of West Virginia. And I'm going to tell you, there are places where the only daggone thing that holds the house up is the Trump rag on the front porch. And these people, they believe that Donald Trump was sent by God and he's going to take care of them. Donald Trump's never going to do anything with them. And I tell them, I said, look, you can't, he would not let you walk onto one single golf course that he has and play around the golf. Donald Trump doesn't like you. Donald Trump is using you and he wants your votes. But he's not going to do anything to elevate you. And for all those poor people right now in Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia that's underwater, Donald Trump's not going to do anything to elevate you. Donald Trump has already hurt you if FEMA is not on the ground already. Once again, they vilified FEMA, and they were literally hunting FEMA workers down in daggone Western North Carolina when the last hurricane hit. He has literally made them the enemy, and some of those people would rather sit inside flood mud for the next 2 months than admit that Donald Trump was wrong and that they're struggling. So, sometimes, you get what you vote for, and that's what they're going to get, and they're going to get it. I'm going to tell you right now, Donald Trump is not doing anything except making this country hate again. And that stuff is getting old. We're getting tired of it. And I think people are ready to start standing up for themselves.
I will disagree with you on one thing. I'm pretty sure none of us got what we ourselves voted for. We voted and then we got something completely different. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's just sad because it just kills me that, we saw so much racism in this last election. And that's what this was. That is what this is. And then you look about the things that they're trying to do right now. Like they're pushing legislation to try and say that if this is me as a husband, if my wife changed her last name when we got married, they're talking about trying to take her voting capabilities away. They're reducing women in this country. They literally want you to be barefoot and pregnant again. And once again, these are people that are pushing this that are the weakest among the men. I'm sick and tired of watching people like J.D. Vance beat his chest. My daughter could whoop his ass. And that's an absolute fact. These people act like they're Elon Musk. Elon Musk is nobody. He is a weird man-child is what he is. When he was on stage jumping around, looking like a daggone moron, that's who he is. The reason why he has 6 kids that are on his staff that are going into all of our private data is because those are the people that he relates to, because he's nothing but a man-child. That is exactly what he is. And oh, by the way, if you think that little brat he's carrying around with him is actually something that he cares for, he's using that child as a shield. I'm telling you right now, you never saw him with a child ever until that daggone CEO got unalived by Luigi Mangione. And now all of a sudden, everywhere Elon goes, he's got that little human shield as he's daggone, on his shoulders. And that's a fact.
I can't handle this fire this man is spitting right now, you guys. I was
not
ready for this.
I mean, he has a point, though. All these folks are at the find out part of the equation.
The billionaire class are absolutely turning out to be the biggest villains ever. And yeah, Donald Trump will do everything he can to protect them. But make no mistake about it. You know what? These people, they have never cared about us. The fact that they're trying right now to push $4.5 trillion, that 83% is going to go into the pockets of the top 1%. That's Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. Those are the people that are going to get the most of this. And what have they done for it? I'm sick and tired of watching these people vilify the middle class and the poor and say that we're not worth anything and that we won't get off of our asses and do something. Yet the billionaires are getting money hand over fist, more money than they could ever spend in 1,000 lifetimes. And what are they doing for it? And oh, by the way, the whole thing about the trickle-down economics, bullshit. Whenever you give them more money, before anything trickles down off of their plates, they buy a bigger plate. That's just the way that it is. It's always been that way. There's so many things that we need to do. Here's something. We need to bring back the fairness doctrine in this country and require daggone honesty and integrity in our news media. And why we haven't brought that back over the past 50 years when Democrats have been in power for part of that daggone time. It kills me when we have so many people in this country that claim to care about it, that do absolutely nothing when they are in power. And I blame that on the Democrats. Look, I'm a Democrat, but I'm a real Democrat. I believe that if you come to my hometown as a scab to take our jobs, you should get your ass whipped in the process. I'm that kind of a Democrat.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell he's in candidate mode because he's kind of toned himself down a little bit. Appearance on this show. So.
The billionaires are taking everything from us. I just can't believe that all this time Batman lied to us.
Yeah.
That's what's traumatizing Val the most out of all of this.
I mean, think about it. They fired 1,000 workers for the Veterans Administration. They also fired all of the probationary jobs. So, that alone is unacceptable. They've killed the programs that educate families about PTSD and traumatic brain injury. Now, I have PTSD, and I also have traumatic brain injury from a couple explosions in Iraq. They kill the programs that help our families learn how to deal with us. So this is not a win. This is not good. And once again, they're acting like, oh, Elon Musk is saving us all this money. First off, the lies of people that are 150 years old drawing Social Security, those are all lies. Those are all lies. But here's what they're doing. He's not going out here and finding fraud, waste, and abuse. He's killing capabilities that normally would receive so much money every year. And they're taking that money and saying, look, this is what we saved the taxpayer. And make no mistake about it. It's not going to go to the taxpayer. It's going to be part of the money that they're giving to the filthy, filthy rich. That's what's going on in this country, and people need to start waking up about this. And once again, I believe that if we keep going down this path, I think that everybody in this country is going to be more than ready to cut ties with all these jackaloons in 2026. And we talk about, oh, this is the most important election of your life. This one is. Because if we don't bring checks and balances back by 2026, Donald Trump will not leave the office. He will not leave. None of them will leave. They will make this a dictatorship. And then if that happens, then I feel very comfortable in being able to do exactly what I swore to do. I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And make no mistake about it, if I have to daggone throw stones with friggin' domestic, then let's do that too.
I am ready with you. Yes.
And we approve this message.
Yes, we do. And
And hit the
Please
like.
let the word jackaloons make it into the public consciousness.
Yes, please do. Please do. As a matter of fact, if you go to the turnleftpack.org, you can buy you a couple Jackaloon shirts. One's got Marge the Trainwreck Green with her daggone crazy hat, and the other one's got Lauren Boebert. And then, of course, we've got the old Trumpaloom himself, Donald Trump.
We may have kids listening to this show, so don't say what Lauren Boebert's doing on that shirt. But I will say, if you are listening to this on YouTube, since you're getting involved, hit the like button and subscribe.
Woo! Absolutely.
To be fair, though, like Trump doesn't necessarily so much answer questions. It's more like, sort of a stream of consciousness, like the way I'm sure like most of us on this panel have seen a stream of consciousness, open mic comedian just go completely downhill.
That's what he does. He is a buffoon. But I mean, it kills me the things that are going on and how he's dealing with this. All the promises that he made, he didn't follow through with none of them. But he changes the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and now they're talking about red, white, and blue land. I mean, here is a guy who is picking fights with our allies that have been our allies since World War II. He starts off with Canada, with Mexico and Panama. Then he tells Egypt and Jordan that they're going to have to take 2 million refugees, and he's talking about they're going to be moved into really nice homes. What homes? Nothing has been built, And oh, by the way, if you think for 1 second that if he puts American sons and daughters on the Gaza Strip so he can have security while they build the Trump Tower, make no mistake about it, those American troops will be nothing more than cannon fodder. Because if you think that they're going to push those people off of that land and it's not going to absolutely bring World War III into this, then you're not paying attention. He is absolutely incompetent, doesn't know what he's doing, and it shows. And the whole entire world, all of our allies are starting to have conversations about what to do with Donald Trump. They're having it, all over Europe. And I can't say that I blame them. And I'm embarrassed right now. I'm embarrassed right now at this country because we deserve so much better than what we're getting.
He's clearly he's addled, I mean, he's so much worse than he was even in his first term. He's clearly just losing his goddamn mind on top of being just a profoundly stupid person anyway. And they're not... Imagine how bad it has to get for Sean Hannity to offer any sort of pushback. And he, and he's really trying there. And he's saying oh, they're yelling at me. And it's not like he's really trying to drill him down on the economy. It's because they know he sounds insane and that's their fucking guy. So they're like, dude, you got to get him on track. You got it. Please don't let him look like a crazy person. But he is a crazy person. Go ahead.
No, they know, that his base, the poorly educated. But I'm going to tell you right now, the poorly educated are starting to wake up. We're seeing farmers that are saying, hey, we voted for this guy, but we got done wrong. Anybody out there that allowed themselves to be used by Donald Trump, and I'm talking blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump, Hispanics for Trump, Cubans for Trump, Palestinians for Trump. Some of those people right now are sitting in deportation centers right now, waiting for an aircraft to take them back to a country that they fled from. That's what's happening. They if you think that Donald Trump cared, Donald Trump was more than happy to take your votes. But now you don't matter. And the way they're doing things, I mean, they're really trying to stack the deck in their favor to where they will never lose another election. They're trying to make it to where women will no longer be allowed to vote. I mean, they're trying to take that away from the women in this country. And let me tell you something. There's more women than there are men in this country. And women need to start standing up. And I cannot stand it when I find these women that vote for Donald Trump that are absolutely more than willing to give away their rights. It broke my heart. That's one of the reasons why I left West Virginia, is because it was my speech that started the teacher strike. And 9 days we fought and we won that fight. And, the very teachers that I stood with, I was the voice of that strike. Most of them teachers literally after the election said, we like Richard Ojeda, but we couldn't vote for him because our husbands are coal miners and Richard Ojeda don't like coal. First and foremost, never did I say I was against coal, but I will be upfront and honest and tell you that coal is a dying resource. So instead of basically continuing down this road of digging coal, because nobody should ever want their children to follow them into a damn mine. My thoughts are let's bring capabilities to West Virginia so that these people can transition when the mines shut down, so that their kids can go into something else versus following them into the mine. And that right there, besides that, Donald Trump coming to West Virginia, putting on a coal miner's cap and acting like he was working a fake shovel. He had never held a shovel in his hand and actually done any real digging in his entire life. But those people in West Virginia, they just thought that it's baby Jesus. No.
No, it was coal miner cosplay.
Yeah, that's what it was. And it was really sad because we did everything right. But let me tell you something in reference to elections. You guys, the Democratic Party have got to get honest with themselves. And I'm going to tell you that I'll say something here right now that some people may not agree with, but I'm going to tell you I'm right. I don't give two shits about daggone Hakeem Jeffries running to daggone Palo Alto in California and sitting down with all the billionaires that are Democrats. Look, that's the wrong answer. Get your ass down to these daggone red states and start putting some boots on the ground and start finding some people to get rid of these assholes. Marcus Flowers ran the greatest race in the country 2 years ago when he ran against Marge the Trainwreck Green. He raised $30 million, and 15 minutes after they shut down the polls, the race was called for Marge the Trainwreck Green. Now, you want to know why it was called for Marge the Trainwreck Green? Because her district is a bunch of racist friggin' jackaloons. And they won't vote for a person of color no matter what, even though he was 1,000 times better than she was. And once again, this last election, a one-star general of color ran against Marcia Trainwreck Green, and she won again. Maybe we need to put boots on the ground, and maybe we need to find somebody in her district that is a good person that everybody in the community can rally around, and we can get rid of her raggedy ass.
In her district, a certain district in North Carolina, maybe, it can work.
I mean, but see, that's the thing, though, is we got to find people. And now, I come from Logan County, West Virginia, and remember, I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually won my Senate seat while getting facial reconstruction surgery because I took a pipe to the back of the head and then I got rolled over unconscious and they broke 8 bones in my face with brass knuckles. Both my eye sockets were broke. Both nasal passages were broke. I had 4 breaks across my jaw. That's how bad things are when you're talking about politics. But you got to get in these fights. But I'm going to tell you, I went back there and, they were always in power, the powers that be, bunch of crooks. And we finally had a man in my hometown that run the gas station. And his name was John Turner. And everybody in the whole entire county loved John Turner. He was a fair guy. If you didn't have money, but you needed gas to go to work, he'd say, you good to go. You'd bring it, pay me the next time. That's the kind of guy that he was. Well, he ran and he won. And he's been the county clerk for like 12 years now. And he's the most honest man in Logan County. And he deserves to be in that position. And he works very hard for the people. But that's the thing is you got to find those people all across the country that will get into these races and fight for the people. And that's what needs to happen. And if we do that and we find those people, we can get rid of the Lauren Boeberts and the Marge the Trainwreck Greens. I mean, goodness gracious, Lauren Boebert failed her GED 3 times. I mean, goodness gracious. You want to talk about mind-numbingly stupid? No wonder she gets into a car with Kid Rock. I mean, who wants to do with that jackaloon?
Got him.
I mean, it's like those two together. It's like when shit and piss collide.
We got one hell of a bonus video to upload to the YouTube. I want to have fun with it.
Airborne. And look, I'm at the point now where I still, the classified documents is something that will always, weigh on me, and I'm going to tell you, I guarantee you, the way those documents were stored in that bathroom, I guarantee you our secrets have been compromised. I guarantee you there were people that were told, go in the bathroom, shut the door, third box down to the left, open it up, halfway through, you'll find the files that you're looking for. And that's exactly what happened. Anybody else, I held a top secret security clearance. Anybody getting caught with one single piece of paper, that's 5 years in prison. Donald Trump stole 126 boxes of classified documents, information about our nuclear capability, our submarines, our defense capabilities, all of that. And once again, remember, when he first took over the president, what did he do? He wanted a list of all the people that were working for the United States of America as our undercover agents. And all of a sudden, we had a huge uptick of people getting compromised, arrested, and even killed. And if you think that Donald Trump didn't have something to do with that, you're not paying attention. I cannot believe that this guy is back in power. I cannot believe that American citizens failed this country. I cannot believe, well, I can believe, because for 50 years they have been absolutely attacking our education system in this country. They have wanted to dumb down this country so bad that it's so easy to believe all this garbage. And once again, that's what we see today. All these people that are still acting like Donald Trump's the second coming of Christ, they believe everything that he says. And no matter how many times we prove to them that this was a lie, this was a lie, this was a lie, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Donald Trump's still talking about they've been paying people Social Security that's 150 years old. All of that is bullshit. It is all lies. But Donald Trump's base don't do any research. They just drink from the fountain of Fox, Newsmax, and OAN. And as long as they are continuing to do that, we're always going to have this problem. We're always going to have our democracy hanging in the balance.
I mean, he's Teflon Don. That's his legacy.
Well,
yeah, he's untouchable.
I'm going to tell you, I think that if he keeps going down this path, there are people, all these people that are doing these videos, there were thousands upon thousands of people that voted for him that worked for USAID. Those 1,000 people that they fired from the Veterans Administration and all the probationary people that got told. These were all probationary jobs all across the country. All of those people were told, see ya, get packing. So let me tell you something. There are people in this country that are absolutely livid at this, and they know it was Elon Musk that killed their jobs. I'm going to tell you right now, that's why he keeps running around with that kid on his shoulders, because he knows that what he is doing is pissing a lot of people off. And let me tell you something. You can only push people so much. You can only take so much from people before they say, I'm done. I'm done with you. And let me tell you something. If that happens, good luck.
I don't think that's his kid, right? Because the kid actually told Trump to shush. And so that's that's not
what that tells you. What that tells you is that kid hears his dad talk about Donald Trump, not being the president and how he's really the president. I'm telling you right now, kids say the things that they hear. And there's a lot of people that think, yeah, that's why this kid is the way that he is. So it doesn't surprise me. I think Elon Musk is absolute trash. I hope some bitch crashes into Mars. And make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. He keeps talking about going to Mars and building a capability for people to live there. It's not going to be you. There's not one person on this panel that will ever get a seat on Elon Musk's rocket out of here. If our planet is burning to the ground and everybody's going to die, make no mistake about it, none of us are going to get seats on that. We're going to have to fend for ourselves and hope that we survive while they fly off to whatever. But I'm telling you, I don't care about these billionaires. They don't care about me. I don't give a shit. I hope, and remember the reason why they named this terrorism for Luigi Mangione. You know why they did that, right? By calling it terrorism, they don't have to have a jury trial. They're scared. They're scared that if they do a jury trial, there's going to be somebody that says, nope, innocent. So they call it terrorism so that he will basically just have a judge sentence him to probably death, That's probably what's going to happen. But that's what they're doing. So it's okay if you go into a school and unalive a whole classroom of second graders and you'll go to court and you'll go to jail. But if you do anything to the billionaire class, well, that's terrorism. We won't be having none of that. Yeah, I don't give two shits.
They probably also don't want a jury for that because anyone with eyes and a working pulse are just going to be so charmed by his handsomeness that might be enough.
Yeah, but that's what's so messed up is that's what they did. That's their angle.
I know.
And look, if maybe if you don't rob us blind so often, I tell you, it gets me with big pharma. Big pharma. I was in my area was the lab rats for the opioid epidemic. That's a fact. They come to southern West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, and they wooed the doctors and said, hey, here's the deal. Instead of giving this, give this. This is called Oxycontin. It's great. They got emails. They captured emails from the daggone company saying, keep them coming, boys. They're eating them up like Doritos. You keep making them, they keep taking them. Let me tell you something. It destroyed where I come from. Nobody was left unscathed. Every family where I come from has lost multiple family members because of the opioid epidemic. People have lost their entire livelihoods. And the bad part about it is the governor of West Virginia right now, bootlicking worm, that guy right there was the attorney general for West Virginia. And, it was Oklahoma. You know how much money Oklahoma won against Big Pharma? Something like $163 million they won from Big Pharma. You know how much West Virginia got from Big Pharma? $2 million. You know why? Because the governor's wife happened to be a lobbyist for Big Pharma. So he did everything in his power to make sure that they got a slap on the wrist when West Virginia should have got more money than any other state because we were the lab rats. That's the problem with this country. That's the problem with this country. And we've got a lot of people in Washington, D.C. that still take money from Big Pharma. And make no mistake about it, I'll throw their ass out of my office physically and won't have a problem with that.
Well, videotape it if you do, because I want to see Richard kicking some ass.
Well, let me tell a story. And there's a guy that will vouch for this. Well, the story was I was in my office. I was a senator. And these three people come in. They were for Big Energy. So they sat down. They said, we need to have a conversation. We started talking. What they wanted to do is they wanted me to vote yes on a bill that would allow the gas companies to come onto your property and put a gas well on your property, even if it was in your front yard. And if you even tried to say no, they could go to the courts and get you thrown off of your own property. And not on top of that, they also would be able to shoot sideways and get everything out from under your neighbors as well. And they wanted me to vote for that. And I said, there's no way that I would vote for that. And then all of a sudden, the pretty little girl that was sitting with them in the middle said, well, Mr. Senator, is there anything that maybe I could do to help you, decide to help us? And I said, you can get your ass up and y'all can get out of my office. And Rusty Williams was standing right there at the door, and he'll tell you that he witnessed that. Look, I'm not scared to throw people out of my office. I don't need Big Pharma. I don't need Big Energy to darken my doorstep. If you're not going to do for the people, then I don't have no business with you.
I don't need to ask Rusty Williams. I believe you. I
will be 55 years old on my birthday, and I know 3 transgenders in my entire life. 3 people that were transgender. In terms of like the NCAA with the sports and all that, I believe there are less than 10 that are even registered for sports. But yet we allow these people to make that the number one thing. Let me tell you something. I do not know, and I challenge anybody to find a transgender person who went into a bathroom and basically preyed on a child. You're not going to find that. I don't think you're going to find it, but you sure as hell can find that with regular people out there, with regular guys that have went into bathrooms and done things, or went into women's bathrooms and done things against women. That happens all the daggone time. There's people that drop things in women's drinks and stuff like that all the time. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to act like the transgender thing is the most important topic in this country, and it's not. There are less than 10 transgender athletes at the collegiate level across the country. So, knock it off.
That's one of those laws that just drove me nuts because I'm like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Who is this for? It's against less than 10 people. Who is it for?
Yeah, but it's for those jackaloons like where I come from in Southern West Virginia. They're like, yeah, we don't want them transgenders. It will never affect your life. It will never affect your life. And here's the thing too. Let's look at these people. I know one transgender person who actually created her own job, and now she pays like 3 people living wages. They're taxpayers. These people, they want to belong. They want to be able to get things done. They want to enjoy peace in their lives. And we just refuse to allow that to happen. When my thing is just shut up, leave the people alone. Let the people be who they want to be. I don't care how you love, how you pray. I don't care. Just don't throw it on me. And once again, look, you're not throwing anything on me. I'm more than willing to say, look, you live your life. I want you to be happy. Why not? That should be what everybody wants to do. To allow something like this to be the topic of conversation is why they're winning. And that's why they have such a poorly educated base. That's why they've been fighting public education for 50 years, because stupid people are easily duped. And they've duped them by thinking that transgender is going to upend their lives. And look, I fight with the pastor almost daily on my phone. And literally, I busted his ass because I'm like, he had the nerve to tell me that transgenders are taking over the world and that Kamala Harris was enriched in satanic values, but Donald Trump was the way, the truth, and the light. So once again, that's the problem. It's not just the poorly educated. It's these pastors out here who have looked outside at their flock and said, oh my God, look at all those Trump Vance stickers on their cars. Those people put into my kitty every daggone week. So I can't let them know that Donald Trump is an evil man. I've got to go with it. And that's what they did. The woman who wanted to allow young people to be able to afford their first home, a woman who wanted to lower prescription drug costs, a woman who wanted to do so much for the people in this country got vilified while they literally acted as if Donald Trump was the second coming of Christ. And you know what? They're going to pay for that in this life or the next, but they're going to pay for it. Well, look, I go live every night on Ojeda Live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow me, share my shows. You can go to theturnleftpack.org. You can get you some Jackaloon merch. But once again, on Thursday, I will be officially announcing, and I'm going to hit the ground running, and I'm ready to work my butt off. People don't understand. I look at this like a combat deployment. I hit the ground. I'm going to go nonstop until it's over with, until it's time for me to get back on the plane and fly back home. So that's the way I'm going to look at this election. And I guarantee you there's no way on the face of this earth that this guy can outwork me. He won't do it.
What a coincidence. The same day this episode dropped. Yes.
Let's do it.
I'm loving this.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom.
Thank you, Richard.